PR Connections Radio presents.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Professionals Podcast. My name is Guy Dawson, and I am your host. And the Professionals Podcast is all about showcasing some of the world's greatest professionals, people who believe in the spirit of doing things the right way and being a true professional. I have a good friend of mine who is on to be interviewed today. His name is Rick Cabrera. He is in financial services. And Rick, welcome to the Professionals Podcast.
All right. Thank you, Guy.
And you are in professional or the financial services profession. Tell us about your background. What led you to the industry that you're in today?
Okay, great. Well, let's go ahead and take a quick look at my background. After high school, this is some time back now, I went off and I joined the U.S. Navy, and it was a great, wonderful experience I had. And then I actually finished college after that. And I graduated with a Bachelor of Business Administration in Finance. And from there, for over a decade, I was a loan officer. And I was serving Long Island and New York City. And I did quite well, helping my customers and clients understand the different loan options available and navigate the application process and secure their loans. And, during the last few years of my loan officer career, I witnessed some crazy things occurring. Suddenly there were many more loan officers, and most of them really didn't have a lot of experience, or even some of them had no experience in finance whatsoever. Anyway, so back then at that time period, towards the last couple of years, there was these loans called subprime loans, which included no income documentation loans. And they were being handed out left and right. And I think we all know what happened after that. So, and in 2008, that's when I actually moved to Las Vegas, and I decided to jump out of the frying pan into the fire and become a financial advisor. And what I love most about being a financial advisor is that I've been developing, and I have developed and maintained lifelong clients now, and I believe I really help make a real difference in their lives.
That's really interesting, Rick, that you were involved in that interesting time, which was the early 2000s, where we got into a lot of our trouble as a result of the subprime loans and some of the business practices. It's great to see, though, that for you, it didn't run you out of the financial services industry. You just found a way to adapt, and here you are still doing what you like to do.
Yes, yeah. And, I'm going to ask, why would if I was to ask myself, why am I a financial advisor, right? And I'm very passionate about what I do. So what I do, and the reason why is, I think most of us know people that are retired and they got financial security, and they're having a great time, right? However, if you're like me, most of us likely know too many retirement-aged folks that are struggling. That they're just not really ready. Now, coming up in life, and I know people, some the previous generation, some of the closest people I know that had that scenario, and I know, and that you could look at some of these folks and look at their careers that they had, and they had good income all that time during their working years, right? So the difference may very well have been a lack of planning and making well thought out and strong decisions. So, Guy, I decided that it's my life's mission to help clients avoid making mistakes and to make good decisions so they could set themselves up for that financially free lifestyle they really want.
And I guess for some people out there, Rick, you hear about financial advisor, there's a lot of different perceptions of what you do for a living. Could you give us a overview of what a financial services person like you does for people?
Yes, absolutely. Well, in order for me to become a financial advisor, maybe this will help you see what I do, is like I got to Las Vegas and I found a position under a senior advisor, right? And then with that a short period of time, I went on and earned my insurance license. So you have an insurance license, accident, health, and life insurance, right? that's often a lot of vehicles there that are needed within a good plan, right? And then what happens is you earn your securities types of licenses, which is the Series 7 license. That's the license needed to represent and complete securities transactions. Now, I don't use the Series 7 license these days. I actually let that go a couple years ago. And because I did also earn what's called the Series 66 license. Now, this is the license that you need to be an investment advisor representative. It's arguably one of the more difficult licenses to get in my industry. And it's been, it's been quite a while, and I've been becoming passionate about serving my clients with the highest level of advice and service. Two things I just wanted to point out. I did add 2 designations over the years. In 2016, I earned, after about a year or so of studying, I earned the designation Certified Estate and Trust Specialist. And now you'll see CES after my name. I'm not an attorney. I do not give legal advice. However, as it pertains to financial advice, I'm able to discuss and help folks make sense of legacy planning and the ways to go about creating wills, trusts, and powers of attorney. And then in 2018 into 2019, I then studied and I earned the designation Certified Tax Specialist. And again, I'm not a CPA. I don't give tax advice. I don't prepare tax documents. I have this knowledge base, right, that helps me and it allows me to discuss tax consequences, especially when it comes to making decisions and planning, right, as it pertains to tax efficiency, right? That's one of my biggest things. I love making sure we could take advantage of as much tax efficiency as possible, because I believe it's very important to consider, especially when it comes to that retirement income distribution phase of your life. Now, if there's ways you could set yourself up where when you get there, you're going to be able to have tax efficiency so that you get to use more of your money, right, for yourself and your family. And I make myself available with the other professionals or CPAs or tax people in the people's life to kind of wrap up and answer the question is, how I go about it. It's like one thing I know my clients would tell me is that they liked my tact in the beginning when I first, began to see them as a prospective client because I approach it from a planning perspective. And it's usually 2-3 meetings or so of a lot of value being put forth from me in regards to planning before they actually are onboarded as a client. That's only after I've made some good sense and they're completely delighted with the plan we've been working out. And it's really based on math, science, little touch of professional art, and really when I do it right, and which I do with people, they stay with me for many years, and I have some long-term clients.
Yeah, that leads to my next question is how does your approach to professionalism affect the way that you are able to connect with prospects and to work with the clients that you already have? Because going out and getting clients is one piece of the puzzle, but as you had mentioned, the rapport that you've built with your actual clients, keeping them, taking care of them, how does your approach to professionalism gear you in that direction?
That's a great question, and I've come across this idea some time back, but let me just go back a second to the first big office, the big firm I worked for, and the senior advisor that I was placed under. I do owe a debt of gratitude, and I gained a lot of knowledge and experience in that time period. And what they did is they said, hey, study these courses, right? Pass these tests, and by the way, you need to speak to 100 people a day, new people, and bring in some prospects, right? So that's the kind of old way, and it worked, and I did it, and I survived, and I did well. So anyway, a few years ago, probably more than probably 7-8 years ago, I think now, I was, I still need to get in front of prospects, right? So, but I was thinking about how to approach this in the new way, and I had a bit of an epiphany, and that while I was reading and researching and thinking about that type of aspect of need to continue to get new prospects. How do I go about this, right, in a professional way? And I made a promise to myself, I'm going to do something which is going to result in what I call professional happiness. And I define professional happiness as my clients are happy, so I am happy, right? So the thing is, it's like three pieces came to mind, like threefold concept here. I realized that I always need to concern myself with getting smarter and more informed about my, profession, and seek out and understand the best planning concepts and, of course, financial vehicles. Right? Now, second, I needed to always to do my best when developing my clients or new prospective clients. I got to make sure I'm doing a very good job developing that deep understanding of what's important to them, right? This way, I'm able and in a position to guide them to my utmost ability, and address each of their concerns. Now, third, I noted I needed to become an independent wealth advisor, which I did a few years ago now, 4 years ago, actually, this past month. Totally independent, on the ground. And this way I could put my clients first. I'm not beholden to any big firm telling me these are the products that we sell. I have the full gamut of everything that's available with the platform I'm on. And I've been and to tie these guiding principles together, I do stress that I'm not all alone here. I have the support and resources of a network of professionals. And so I have been approaching my career like this for quite some time now. And Guy, this epiphany of mine was right, because I'm gaining success. I'm having success, yes. But most importantly, I'm having professional happiness. And so my expert secret is to serve my clients in a way that creates and maintains professional happiness. And the greatest thing about this is that it's good for my clients, and it's good for me, and of course, good for my family.
Do you have any strategies that you use to keep your professional skills sharp? You talked a lot about the communication with your clients and the importance of that. How do you keep yourself growing as a professional? As we all know, things in your industry change. You talked about the certifications that you've gotten. So I can see that you're into ongoing education.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you do to make yourself a top performer in your industry?
Yes. Well, I'm always engaged on a systematic, consistent way of carving out time to read journals, especially, and go into certain webinars, so I could have a good idea of what's going on and what the new trends are. For example, some of the new rules when it comes to retirement accounts. The Secure Act 2.0 came out recently. So I go into the certain webinars about that. I make sure I'm well versed on what's happening with these new rules. So yeah, I'm always trying to and I'm always maintaining a sharp edge on what's going on. Now, to tell you the truth, I don't need to know everything. I need to know a lot. Because I'd have a team. I have a CFA, a certified financial analyst in the back office. I bounce things off. I got a CFP, certified financial planner in the back office. I got chartered insurance. So it's a lot of the times I figure most of this stuff out myself, but there are times where I bring a case to other members that are kind of specialized in different areas, so that I know that the kind of advice I'm giving is going to be correct and sharp.
Yes, that's so important to being a professional, is that commitment to your own improvement, and your clients are the ones that get the result of that. And you are someone who is very committed, Rick, because I know I watch you. You're very committed to being the best you. Is there anything that you're doing personally? There's a lot of people out there who are in financial services. I meet them every day. I'm sure you meet lots of financial service people every day. What is it that you do to set your brand apart? We all have a personal brand as professionals. Is there anything that you're doing in your approach to being a financial planner for people that makes you stand out from others, so that they more want to do business with you than someone else?
That's a good question. I just think I'm best off being myself, I'm not going to appeal to everyone. So I think what I do better than probably most, or there's a lot of great competition, is really listening closely to what people are telling me. When I have somebody, if I'm out networking or there is a new prospect in my office, listening. I think that's a skill that is paramount. 75% of the time in a conversation, I ought to be listening. If I start discovering I'm doing most of the talking, something is wrong. And I got to remind myself, listen, actively listen, capture, and really even like bookmark or highlight in my brain the highlight that's important to this person, right? This person's telling me we're talking about this and that, and then suddenly they're telling me that they have a special needs scenario going on with one of their grandchildren, right, or children, and that's something that's so important to them. For example, I'm just pulling that out of the air. I've seen this before, and we have a plan addressing that because there needs to be a plan to address something like that. The special needs person, money needs to be earmarked for that person for many decades to come because it's going to be needed, even if the client, most likely will be gone, right? So really listening, being able to kind of tell the story of certain concepts, instead of me going in and going into just the math and sciences, I could tell stories of examples of how this particular planning concept it works out for other people and has worked out with other clients. So that kind of resonates with people too. So I hopefully that answers your questions. All I know is I try to be myself. I try to be as helpful as I can, and be as transparent. I don't let anybody go forward with any plan unless I'm very confident that they know and have a good grasp on what we're doing, what vehicles we're using, what types of tax treatment are on the accounts, why this is one piece here, why this other piece is here. And if I don't think they understand it, I'm not going to even go forward with them, So just a lot of transparency, a lot of being myself, a lot of helping people. One thing I'm really good at is like taking the information and then reflecting back to the client or prospective client what they already have in hand. So one of the things I do, this is probably the best answer, I think, is with a new prospect, I provide a snapshot of what they're already doing. And I'm able to, with my very powerful planning software I'm an expert at, just show them, illustrate it out, how their retirement looks like, assuming everything goes, more or less right. And then from there, that's something I show them. I'm able to show them like different scenarios. What if this storm comes along or that storm? So we all know that storms come along. Life is, Guy, I guess you would probably agree, right? Life is dynamic. You probably need a dynamic plan, right? So what I do, I'm very good at like saying, hey, let's address this. Looks like everything's going to be great. We're planning for a nice long, period of financial freedom, i.e. retirement. But we also want to make sure, hey, if this goes this way, this goes sideways, what's going to be able to shore it up, make sure it works out for your spouse or your family and whoever else you're whatever else that's important to you. Because you know what? Money is there for, why do we have money? It will be used either in your lifetime or afterwards by wherever you're leaving it to. So that's kind of a long-winded answer. Try to just be transparent, be very helpful, and I think when people give me a chance, they're always quite impressed.
If you had words of advice for someone who was a newer professional or just getting into a specific profession for how they could be more successful, what would your advice be for them?
I think for me, I would if I could go back to begin, I would actually be more open to coaching, to getting, creating a network of like-minded people that are going to be able to sit down with you. Maybe you schedule once a week, something I've heard termed a weekly accountability meeting with a couple of other professionals, other people that are either some people that may be more advanced in their career than you. You try to find that mentor, try to be open to listening to good advice and not trying to figure everything out on your own.
Outstanding advice for professionals out there.
Yeah.
Yes, tap into the resources around you. Yeah, I absolutely agree. And Rick, this was an excellent interview. I think that you showed us the path to professionalism in the financial services industry. And it was interesting to hear your story, how you evolved to the place you are now. And I wish you nothing but continued success with your business. And will you share with the audience how they can get in contact with you if they want a highly professional and reliable financial services person to work with them?
All right. So the quickest way would be to go to calendly.com/Rick W. Cabrera, and that you can schedule a call or a meeting. My website's called vistaprowealth.com. Vista, Vista with a V, Vista Pro Wealth. I called it Vista because, Vista is like, a lot of people think of a nice view, right? As that term, Vista. You took a hike up the hill and you're looking at the beautiful view. But another meaning is to carve out time to envision a period of time, either reminiscing or envisioning and extrapolating out your future, envisioning. So that's why I call it Vista. So I wanted to maybe give you a quick closing thought on what pertaining to professionalism. Would that be okay, Guy?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, I believe it's important, right? It's very important that the professionals that you hire, they're resourceful and responsive, right? And recently, I asked one of my clients, it was a good idea. I'm trying to create like one of those business cards, and it says, ask your current clients why they do business so you can learn more about what is good and unique about you. So I did that. I asked the client recently, why she continue, why she hired me in the first place, and why she continues to have me do business for her so many years later. And she stated that she stated, first of all, that I was easy to speak with, and that I never rushed her, and I explained things in a way where it was easy for her to understand her plan and the financial vehicles and the types of accounts we're using, right? So she also stated that one of the very first promises I made to her is that I will always be there and we would do regular reviews. And she said, I'm glad you followed through with that because, the quotes, I don't know what I'd do without you, was said, So that was very, very touching for me to hear, and it makes me very happy to believe I'm doing things right. And I think also the professionals you hire, you need to be able to play well with the other professionals in your world, so that there's congruency. Guy, I do have to read real quick a disclosure for compliance purposes. It's real quick. Advisory services offered through Creative One Wealth, a registered investment advisor. Creative One Wealth and Vista Pro Wealth Management are unaffiliated entities, licensed insurance professional as well. Provided content is for overview and informational purposes only, and not intended and should not be relied upon as individualized tax, legal, fiduciary, or investment advice. I had to say that.
That was a mouthful, Rick.
It's usually in print. I don't usually have to say it out loud.
We really appreciate you stopping by, Rick, and being a part of the Professionals Podcast. And again, continued success in your business. And for all of you out there, tune into the Professionals Podcast. I am one of the hosts of this show. We are all about bringing on people who are high performers in their fields and sharing the things that make them top-notch professionals. Many, many shows in the works, as well as a lot of things happening in the professionals group. There is a group on Facebook called The Professionals, and if you can look at the banner at the top, you can see the link to it. We'd love to have you as a member of the professionals group. There's a lot of strong people from all over the world who are in many different professions that are a part of that group. We are also in the process of developing a website, theprofessionalslead.com. It's the beginning of a platform that we're very excited about, bringing professionals together, again, from all over the world to share the strategies that help them to stay in the know and on top of their game in their industries. So stay tuned for more broadcasts of The Professionals. Have an amazing day.